Hey guys, this is Collin, Moshman, and Katie Dozier for CardsChat.com. And first we want to say don't miss any of our exclusive content. Click on the blue CardsChat logo in the bottom right corner to subscribe, or the red subscribe button below the video. And today we have a full PokerStars SCOOP final table with all whole cards revealed. This is event 124, the 109 6 Max Super Turbo final table with all whole cards revealed. Katie, what are your thoughts on this event?
This is my dream kind of final table, all right? You know it's not going to go on long. The action's going to be fast and loose with it being a hyper turbo, and the ICM situations are going to be ripe for the picking.
Well said, Katie. That was awesome. Yeah, really fast-paced, short stacks.
At least it should be. We'll
you
see.
Hope.
Hopefully they don't get blinded out and we're like, why are we making this video?
Yeah, so I think like for example, right off the top, you've got Tobinator, and if everybody folds to him, which probably won't happen, but he just goes ahead and shoves this hand because he's the big stack. There are a lot of short stacks, and he should be pressuring the mid stacks.
He definitely should be shoving the 8-10. I don't think in this particular instance that would work out very well for him, but that is results poker, and he should shove it if it folds to him.
You're saying you don't think Pocket Queens would give him that respect that he deserves?
No, but the point is they're supposed to fold a lot more hands than they would be correct to go ahead and call with.
Yeah, definitely. And here, Ace-7 feeling a little bit frisky. So normally I like that play. I think at the final table it's pretty close.
I like the shove there. He is the shortest stack. It's not a fist pump, but I like that he's seizing what is a mild opportunity, even if it's not looking very good for him right now.
No, it's not what you want to see. No. Now, what's interesting there, you saw that Junkie makes a correct call, but he tanks. He's not happy about calling with the queens, considering that he could fold and likely ladder up.
I think that it is a spot where we should be surprisingly tight. Queens is definitely going to be a call, though. But I don't blame him for thinking for a second.
Yeah, and here he wants to be shoving very wide. Not, all hands, because he expects the short stack and the big blind to call him fairly wide. Would you call the 8-7 studio? I would click the call button personally.
I would call. Yes, I would call. It's the shortest stack in this scenario. Far and away the shortest stack. And you know what I'm about to mention, Colin.
The ante.
Yes, the ante. So, in general, of course, in a 6 max, it's going to be, a situation where the ante's less of an effect, but it's also a hyper turbo. We want to be aware of that ante, Colin. Especially totally when we have 8 million and it's a 2 million.
That's a really good point. Now, we're like 10 seconds in and somebody's already busted, which is pretty cool. But here's a riddle. This is a 6 max final table. Somebody's busted. There's still 6 players left. This is like a time warp.
Yeah, for a second, I was like, wait, I thought this was a 6 max. And then I remembered that they tend to do the final tables 9-handed, right?
Or one more. So if it's like, for example, 4 max, they'll often do 5-handed
right,
final
one more.
tables.
Right.
6 max, 7-handed. Here, Tobinator puts in the raise, which I like. He can call off at least 2 players. What do you think? I think Peter with 3 blinds, he just kind of has to put it in with this decent Broadway hand.
Yeah, I think we definitely... Now, I would actually call and hope to get to do a stop and go, to be honest, in this spot. I wouldn't shove.
Yeah, but we do want to knock out the big blind too, don't we?
We do, but I think that, I don't know.
Now, big blind snap calls. Katie, do you like this play, or would you have re-raised all in?
I think re-raising all in would not be the way to go, actually.
Really? Why not?
Because of the stack dynamics in this particular spot, I think I would actually tend to play this passively.
For me personally, you know what? He's got fold equity. I would jam it in. But this is a very playable hand. You like taking it to the streets, and I've got to respect that.
I do, but Tobinator is going to be on, I think, a very wide range for opening here, so I don't mind as much playing this hand out of position, even though it's uncomfortable. But sometimes that's poker, isn't it? You don't always just do what's most comfortable, otherwise you're not winning the most you could win.
Well said. Yeah, I would jam that hand pre, and then as played, I would value bet river. But you know what, Katie?
I would value bet river. I do agree with you there.
I'm too aggressive. I'm too
Nobody
cool.
ever said that about me. Okay.
And 10s, I also do not like this. I would jam this hand
10s
in
I feel differently about because of the post-flop ability being a lot worse than ace-jack suited. I would prefer shoving the 10s, so I'm with you there, brother.
Well said. And now I would be betting for value, for protection. You don't want to give a free...
I would bet more than that also.
Yes.
That's a really tiny...
Preach it, Katie.
That's a tiny bet, Barksdale. You know better than that.
Yes. All right, so Junkie's going to open this hand.
He better open it. That would be so tight if he didn't. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the chip leader. Or actually, he's not. He's close to it. But
Yeah.
I think you can get away with opening most or all Broadway hands.
Barksdale hasn't really gotten out of line at all, and he flatted those 10, so likely he might be playing a bit tighter, so he should be even more inclined to open also if we're junky.
Yes. Now, Tobinator here, I think this hand is a little bit weaker, stacks are a bit more awkward. So I'm fine with his flat call.
Yeah, I am as well in this scenario.
He's going to get a pass from the Mosh and the Doge.
I reject that nickname. Thanks, though.
Okay,
Thanks
that's
for
fair.
trying.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. So
Now-
a small c-bet took it down there.
Yeah, now one thing that we should bring up, by the way, is what are they working on in terms of pads? Rizm, I think, is going to fold this hand because Peter has under 2 blinds. Let's just take a quick look at the lobby, assuming there's nothing. Well, we've got to watch Peter. He's got his queens.
Do you think he's going to play
I feel he's going to play this hand.
Yes. A bold choice.
Definitely.
I think this sets up, though, exactly why it's important to not have made the folds he made leading up to this. You want to set yourself up for when you do have queens later to really have a stack instead of be, like, marginally better in this scenario. You know, you gotta bring out the heart when you have a really short stack, because if you don't, you're gonna get 6.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Definitely. And here he elects to take a flop. So pretty much the big blind is effectively making it so he has 2-to-1 odds
and go
facing
coming.
the shove.
Yep, here we go. I called it. I didn't interrupt
he
you to
took
do
your
it,
play.
but I
No.
did. I like this play.
How do aces win there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
All right, so action's literally too fast. You know what? But I'm going to go ahead and pull up. This is the lobby, a screenshot of the lobby. So it's going to block
70
everything people can see right now, Katie.
I don't think it needs to be up there long, but first is 75K, second is 52, and third is 36.
Yeah, say 50,000 starting chips, 109 buy-in, over 5,000 entrants. So these guys, you know what, have mostly played very well, I'm sure, but also they've run good. If there are 5,100 people, it's a hyper turbo. You just have to run decently.
If it's a hyper turbo, period.
Yeah.
Let
Now, let me ask
alone
you
all
this.
the other
Do you
calls.
think Barksdale should have folded as 10-deuce suited here, given the stacks?
No, I would not fold there. I'd be opening any 2 personally.
Yes, raising any 2 cards, Katie. I love it. That is why you are a feared player at the tables.
I don't know about that, but I have studied some fold in my day, Collin. All right.
You cut your teeth at the super turbos. I think I actually, at the start of this video, Poker Joe, by the way, should call it this Queen Jack, called it the 6 Max Hyper Turbo Super Turbo, which is true, but it also has the name Supersonic.
That sounds a lot cooler. I don't know what it means right off the bat, but, you know, the supersonic, it sounds good, you know?
Yeah, it sounds fast.
All right, 4-handed action now. It's getting serious.
Yeah, so Barksdale should go ahead and move all in.
Definitely.
And why not a blind increase?
Why not?
They were too deep stacked. We need to remedy this.
Action was too
post-haste.
slow.
Yes. We're averaging one player busting every, 2.25 minutes.
Why are my final tables always like it's like 4 hours, one person busts, and then I take 5th? I sound like Norman Chad now. I'm too pessimistic.
Yeah, 8 hours of late reg.
Right.
That would be funny if somebody registered right now. There's a 5th seat.
All right. So we expect Junkie to go ahead. What do you think? I would like just shoving. Definitely is a mid stack.
I think
it's profitable.
Yeah, it depends on what he thinks about Barksdale. The better a player that Barksdale is, the more Junkie should just shove. Because if he limps and Barksdale's a good player, he's going to move all in here a lot to apply ICM pressure. Against a weaker opponent, I like limping or maybe even raising small, against somebody who's very tight and passive.
Against that type of opponent, I definitely prefer raising small with a hand that's as strong as ace-6 suited. We're less likely to have to deal with balancing at a hyper turbo final table because it's going to go so fast, also. So I
Yeah,
would
pot
prefer
control,
that.
ever heard of it? Hello?
Yeah, getting value for having the better hand. Ever heard of it?
All right, so Barksdale has river to straight.
No surprise there. Junkie basically said, please, will you take this pot from me? Some way,
Exactly.
somehow.
So Barksdale also needs to have, besides the fact he could have raised or shoved pre-flop, he should semi-bluff this flop with only 9 high in the open and a straight draw.
Yeah.
So he's missed some opportunities, but you know what? He makes up for them with a river value bet.
Yeah, and just by winning the hand when he wasn't, that wasn't likely to happen before the flop was dealt and all the cards came down.
That counts for something, too. If you win the pot, that counts for something in poker.
It should.
Right.
All right.
Maybe that makes us old-fashioned to say.
I like this min race as opposed to just open shoving because of the fact that we want to encourage exactly the kind of hand Tobinator has. That's a correct shove Tobinator's making and a correct call, and I think that makes me think Barksdale is thinking about that kind of thing more than I would have thought possibly beforehand.
Yeah, look at that suck out to it chop, the river wheel.
Oh. All right.
Barksdale getting some nice hands.
I'm trying to make some sort of dog pun with the Bark name, but it's just not coming to me. That's probably for the best.
You know who I'll bet his favorite basketball player is? Charles Barkley. Woof woof.
Probably most people listening haven't even heard it. It's so 90s, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm impressed. You made a sports little reference.
Yeah, that was
there.
pretty sweet.
Good.
So he should be shoving any 2 cards there into the short stack, well under 10 blinds effective. And I'd like to see him come in with another min race here.
Yeah,
he
I
does
like that. I like it.
Queen 5 suited can call. I don't think it's crazy to fold, considering he's very mid-stacked.
Yeah, I think if I have a read that Barksdale is a good player, I just go ahead and lay that down if I'm Tobinator there, personally.
And look at Barksdale.
Good shove. I like Barksdale is owning this. Barksdale has my vote now. He's won me over. A slow start, and look what he's doing now. I'm proud of him.
Yes, well said.
All right, Junkie should go ahead and shove this clearly here.
Yeah, so normally this would be a very clear shove for 11 blinds, blind on blind. Considering he's second in chips, I agree with you, Katie. I think he's still
a clear shove.
I think it's very close, honestly.
Really?
Like,
Yeah. Suited, offsuit, I would fold.
I would have shoved if I were him, but it would be near the bottom of my range personally.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I am the most aggressive player on PokerStars.
I don't think that's a title anybody wants to have. All right.
So 7-6 suit, that's definitely a good fold. And Rizm only having 3 or so blinds is going to really start impacting the strategy of the other players.
I would have shoved there if I was Barksdale, even though the small blind's going to call with a lot. I think from the action we've seen, I would assume he's playing a bit too tight, folding too much, and that the shove would have been profitable.
Yeah, so look at this.
Wow. Oof.
This is going to be a short video with the River Jack. All right, so Junkie makes a great call. He's going to be in a tight range there, but he absolutely makes the correct call. And also, he can lose, but still take fourth.
Right,
so he's not
that's
necessarily...
true as well.
Yeah.
All right. So they're pretty even stacked here now with this distant third Tobinator scenario. Now, I don't know about you, but when I find myself as Tobinator in this spot, I feel kind of like energized. Like, yeah, I'm going to come back from this. It feels like you have nothing to lose, you know?
Yeah, he's just laddered up. He's gained a tremendous amount of equity.
He's feeling probably better than either of them.
Yeah, definitely. And Barksdale should be the one who has the advantage, considering he has position against Junkie. And we'll see how that dynamic plays out.
I would have shoved the King 9 there. I think we're very short, and I would go ahead and have shoved in that scenario where I think Barksdale's opening very wide.
I think it's kind of deep. I would just call there. I wouldn't fold. Yeah, you have 25 blinds, right?
Take flop. No, I'm saying if I was Tobinator, I would have shoved.
Oh.
You're joking. He doesn't have 25 blinds. You need to adjust for the ante.
Just for the ante. Katie, nobody adjusts for the ante anymore. You're too old school. I'm going to introduce you to the new style of play.
That's not true.
Okay?
There was a CardsChat post recently where somebody made the mistake of asking about the ante and didn't expect the diatribe from me that followed, where I wrote them a short ebook essentially on my love of adjusting for the ante. No, I joke about it, but I really think it's an incredibly underrated aspect of tournament poker that even really great players, Collin, can underestimate from time to time.
Now, Tobinator orbit or so ago jammed 5 blinds with King Deuce off on the button, which is close, but I like it. You know what? He's staying alive.
Yep. You want to sing the song for us? You introduce
staying alive.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's what I'd be listening to if I was Tobinator. That would be on the box.
Yeah, there's a great scene in The Office Michael is singing that song, if you guys haven't seen them. Now, there we have a nice raise from Barksdale. He doesn't want to get action with the ace-king. And he jams king 10. Katie?
I like the jam. I think,
Junkie is going to call, we assume, very tight. He could 3-bet shove much wider than he could call.
Yeah.
So assuming Junkie's a decent player, that's a great move. And I like Tobinator's call. Not a fist bump, but he's so short.
Yeah, I'm surprised he made that call. I think it's a good call, but from what we've seen, I think that was pretty impressive to not miss that spot, to be honest.
Yes, and a good jam for 11 blinds. He runs into 9s, unfortunately for him.
Yep. And
heads up.
9s holds. All right, how deep are we, Mosh?
Well, Doge, we are 15 blinds.
15 blinds. All right, I like that.
Okay, now check this out.
Numbers.
Barksdale wants to see the numbers. They both have their box checked in the info tab. We're going to the deal. Katie, what do you think? Your thoughts?
I think it's always really amusing to me when someone asks to see the numbers and then instantly shoves. Like,
is that strong or weak?
I don't know, but it gets in my head to some extent, to be honest with you. I mean, in that case, I don't think, to be honest, that it would ever make sense that, like, they have aces.
I think it's weak, right? Because you want the person to fold and see the numbers. I think that was weak. I think it's a great thing. You were very observant. I totally agree with that.
Next time I'm heads up, I'm going to give a reverse tell.
Yeah. So here, there's no difference between chip chop numbers and ICM numbers heads up.
Because there is no ICM heads up.
Exactly. So we're not seeing all the discussion in the replay, but apparently they have agreed on a deal. But they're still playing for additional first place money, and this is a winner-take-all structure.
And for the glory. For the glory.
Yes. King 4, I would fold here.
Yeah, I think that's...
You want to call wide heads up, but they're over 13 blinds effective. And you can also use charts. We talk about this in How to Become a Winning Poker Player in 30 Days. But there are plenty of charts you can use for heads up that are legal to do. Jax, Katie, would you have jammed this or made a different play?
Considering he's been playing jam folds, I like just jamming it. It's would be a great spot to be able to min raise instead. But if you've been just jamming and then you get a big hand, you should stick to just jamming unless you're up against the type of opponent you think is not even going to have noticed that.
I would have min raised.
Well,
because of the ante, okay?
You can't just say because of the ante without it actually meaning anything.
Well, I just did.
Well, I guess you did. Doesn't mean it makes sense.
Wow, big call here with King 6. And look at this. He hits it.
He hits it. It was a good call. That's a correct call he made there.
So we're going to end this here. This has been fast and furious action in Scoop 124, the 6 Max Supersonic. Thanks very much for watching. This has been Katie Dozier and Collin Moshman for CardsChat.com.